This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domaincom. Today on FilmRiot, Adobe MAX and lenses. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes the mystery out of the effects and techniques to go to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and I was lucky enough to go out to Adobe MAX this year to see firsthand some of the things that Adobe is going forward with and talk to the creative people behind it. Now, you can find everything that I'm going to be telling you by watching the full keynotes on Adobe's site, which you definitely should at this link right here. But I figured I would just give you guys the things that interested me most, starting with the fact that the Creative Suite is no more. From now on, it is Adobe CC, of course, the CC standing for Creative Cloud. It seems what Adobe is looking to do is create a creative culture where everything is connected and work is easily collaborated on. Oddly enough, some of the things that I'm most excited about was not the new features inside of software, it was actually what these new steps toward a cloud-based work environment could become. But going back a bit, the biggest change here is that Adobe products are now subscription-based, meaning that you will pay a monthly fee and get access to all of Adobe's products. So one monthly fee gets you everything they make. Now, some have taken issue with this approach, and I do understand that concern, but I think it's a smart move for Adobe and one that works really well for professionals. But I'm not going to get into that here. Aaron Rabinowitz put a really great article online with all of his thoughts and breaks down pretty much everything you would want to know, all the good and the bad. Really, really well written, so definitely give that a read right here. It is quite good. So now you have new ways of working and being connected, including Creative Cloud's desktop app, which looks great. It gives you an activity feed of what you've been working on, plus shows you all of your apps, which they say is like the App Store, except you own all the apps. Then they have your files, which can be saved on the cloud and collaborated on. Fonts, which is Typekit for your desktop now. And what's so great about this is the fact that Typekit has over 700 fonts, which would be a ton of money to buy on its own, but now it comes with your CC subscription. Why I love this so much is because I am constantly needing different fonts for my projects, and the way that this allows you to search for your fonts and install them just makes me happy in my heart. But going back to software, now that it's all cloud-based and subscription, you will go to your cloud and download all the software you want to use, and you're good to go. And no, you don't need to be logged on all the time to use it. You can have no internet signal at all and still be able to do your work on your apps just like you do right now. And you can use all the software across 2 computers, which reminds me, something else that I really loved is that you can sync all your settings to the cloud. So if you're working in your editor and you have everything set up exactly how you want it to be, all your hotkeys and what have you, you can sync that to the cloud. Then when you get a new computer, set up your new software there, the cloud's gonna recognize that it's you, ask if you wanna add all your settings, you click yes, and done. I love that a lot. And most of this is based around the fact that the software is becoming a part of you, which I really dig. And hopefully this is just a taste of things to come, since now one of the biggest upsides is the fact that you don't have to wait for new versions to release to get updates. Since, again, it's subscription-based, Adobe can roll out updates and new versions as they make them. Now, some have said that this is actually a downside. Since it's subscription-based, Adobe won't have the same incentive as they did to really push for innovation. And I think that's a very valid concern, but I'm not personally worried about it, and for 2 reasons. First is that video professionals are ready and willing to jump ship, which we proved with the release of Final Cut 10. Once that came out, a lot of people jumped immediately over to Avid and Adobe, so no company is safe. And secondly, I met the people behind the software. These guys are passionate about pushing for the next level and constantly trying to improve the product. And of course, there's all the great new features that are in the software that we've already talked about on the show and all of you already know about, but with these new versions, it's like the little things that really have me excited, like nudging between tracks on the timeline, syncing, and so on. And again, the type of thing that they're working on going forward, which they gave us a little sneak peek at their Sneaks keynote, hosted by Rainn Wilson, by the way, who's freaking hilarious. It's really worth watching just for him. His job was basically to heckle the presenters as they tried to present within 5 minutes, which I thought was incredibly entertaining. Now, most of the sneaks were for web people, but there were 2 things that caught my eye. The first is the after the fact lighting. Basically, this allows you to add the light and color from one clip to another to make it match, just basically by one clip. It analyzes one and puts it to the other. Really impressive with photos, a bit rough with video, but the idea is definitely there. I'm excited about it because I could take a clip from a project that I'm working on, then grab a movie that I want it to look like and add that to match. Then I would be able to have a solid example to show my colorist what I want the project to look like. The other was an audio plugin that I believe was called Audio Layers. This one lets you identify different sources of audio in your clip and separate it into multiple layers. So taking one layer of audio and separating it into multiple. Now these are just in development and aren't promised even to hit the market, but it's stuff like that which shows me that Adobe is constantly reaching for new levels. But those were the things that stuck out to me most. To learn more about Adobe CC, go to their site right here. They have all the pricing and what have you. And I definitely suggest watching all the keynotes right here, especially the creativity keynotes, most especially from Rob Legato. That man is a genius. But check all that out right there, and boom. Need a domain name? Of course you do. And if you're a budding filmmaker, a .net from Domain.com is perfect for you. .net is universally known to inject your website with instant credibility. You will immediately discover the advantage of building your web presence around a .net domain name, my friend. Already have a .com? Purchase the corresponding .net at Domain.com to protect your brand. Is the .com taken? Well then, go with the .net. That guy should have got the .net, and he didn't. Now you can. You see what I'm saying? Find a .net at Domain.com. I love Domain.com because they're affordable. Their .net is only $8.99 a year. They're reliable and easy to use. The guys at Domain.com want to hook you up, as always, with sweet, sweet money savings. Get 15% off your already affordable domain names and web hosting when you use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout. So remember, use the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout for 50% off, and when you think domain names, think Domain.com.
Logo.
So I've been planning on doing a lens episode for some time now. We're going to be teaming up with some awesome people and doing something really informative for you guys, but I've been getting a lot of questions lately about low-cost lenses, and there's, a lot of things that you could do, but cheap and lenses usually aren't good best buddies. So I can tell you something that I did. I eBayed them. eBay is your friend. You can find great used lenses for cheap and other vintage and oddball lenses too. I like trying to find a great way to get different looks. So for me, finding something like my Helios lens on eBay is great. For instance, here's a shot with my Canon L series lens, and here with my Helios. You can see that I got a much different look using the Helios. We got soft lenses, it's a little more gray in the black areas, the color even looks different. It's a totally different style, which is great. I also got an 85 Nikon, which I attached to my camera using a converter. Each of these lenses ran me about $150 to $200, and I absolutely love them both. Now, if you're shooting DSLR, the one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're going for your lens is image stabilization. Without that on your lens, handheld is just a no-no. You need something to be able to stabilize, or your video just looks like crap. For instance, here's without IS, which is image stabilization, and here it is with it. So really, really big difference. The image stabilization helps cut down on that crazy jitter that's completely distracting. And the last question I keep getting is focal length. What lenses should you get focal length wise to start out with? And that's hard to say. It really depends on your shooting style. I mean, a safe place to start would probably be a 35mm, a 50mm, and an 85mm, but I'm a pretty big fan of zoom lenses too. I mean, when you have a limited budget, using a zoom lens is really gonna help you out. The lens I use most is the 24 through 105mm L series, which I get a great spread of focal length in just one solid lens. So you're spending a lot more money on one lens, but you're getting a lot more focal length out of that one lens. So really in the long run, you're gonna be saving money. Plus you can switch your focal length without having to switch out your lens, which is a big plus when you're doing run and gun shooting.
Logo.
But there you have it. We will be visiting lenses again, and we're gonna be going much more in depth with them. It's gonna be a very fun and informative episode for sure. But until next time, you can follow me on my Twitter person right here, or my Facebook if you'd rather. And I'll see you guys next time when I do steroids and then steal a dude's money.